Sometimes when we, the fans, ask for games, we just don't get them. Super Mario Galaxy 3, a remastered Spyro trilogy, a true return of Mega Man, another F-Zero game, and anything but Bubsy. Seriously, do we need this? But sometimes, we get what we want. We get games like Star Fox Zero, a remastered Crash Bandicoot trilogy, and finally, Sonic Mania. That's it! Where's my Spyro trilogy? While not a fan game, it was made by the fans, for the fans. And when I mean by the fans, I really mean by the fans. Christian Whitehead, who has done Sonic Retro, a great fan game from what I heard.
I don't have a lot of time to play everything, okay?
And his retro engine from that fan game is also in Sonic Mania. He is also responsible for the 2011 and 2013 re-release of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic CD. Simon Tomley, the founder of Headcanon, who made the excellent Sonic Megamix fan game. Paragon and West Gaming, who did the unofficial Sonic 2 HD Remastered. T-Lopes, known for his excellent Sonic remixes on YouTube. And many more. And after many reveals and leaks, Sonic Mania was released on August 15, 2017, and the following day in Japan. Oh yeah, the PC version got delayed. Let's go to August 29th, people, come on! Ah, much better. Now, where was I? Oh yeah. Now, because of how recent this game is, spoiler warning. Oh my god! This game is amazing! If you don't know by now, I love retro games, and this, oh boy, where do I begin? After the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic and Tails picked up some strange energy reading back on Angel Island. While it wasn't the Chaos Emeralds, it was very powerful, so they both went to check it out. However, a group of egg robots has beaten them to the strange energy, known as the Phantom Ruby. They then warped Sonic and Tails into Green Hill Zone, and transformed themselves into the hard-boiled heavies. And it's now your job to stop them and Eggman and save the day. Oh, and Knuckles. No. Now I must say, this game looks amazing. Like I said before, the game runs on Christian Whitehead's own retro engine, which allows for really smooth animations. And oh boy, is it smooth. Now in case you didn't notice by now, the game has a style that looks just like the 16-bit Sonic games. Ah, I love it, I love it, I love it! And the music. Oh, Studiopolis, Flying Battery, the special stages, they're all amazing. Let's move on before I get even crazier. Like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you can play as 3 characters, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Tails and Knuckles has the same abilities as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Tails can fly to skip parts of the zone. You cheating lil. Knuckles can glide and punch through certain walls, allowing you to play parts of the act that only Knuckles can access. Sonic got a new ability called the Drop Dash. This move is really helpful and is satisfying to use. One thing I should also mention is that we got little cutscenes that you see before and after each zone, just like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is neat. Anyway, let's look at the stages. The first stage is Green Hill Zone, for the 20th time, but I don't mind, the stage is still pretty good. The first act is just a nostalgic trip, with a familiar, yet different act pass. But the second act is quite different, as you go into an underground cavern with zip wires. Yeah, this will more or less happen in the return zones, where the first act is very familiar, and the second one is very different. And the boss of the second act is the Death Egg Robot, which was the final boss in Sonic 2. Kind of sad. Oh yeah, and you can also set fire to some of the bridges. Chemical Plant Zone is just as fun as a world in Sonic 2. The first act boss is pretty— Are you kidding me? Why? Out of all the style boss, why this type? I don't like this type of boss, yet Sega keeps reusing it. Ugh. Anyway, in the second act, the poisonous water has now turned into bouncing jelly. We also got sticky sliding platforms and helix lifts. And we got an enemy that belongs to a different zone and game. Now, are you ready for this? The second act boss is Puyo Puyo. This is awesome, this is awesome. I don't know why it's here, but it's awesome. Next up is Studiopolis Zone, one of the new stages. We got so many lights, a few cameras, and a whole lot of action. This zone is pretty cool. There's bouncing thinamajigs, Sega popcorn machines, which makes me really hungry, and TVs everywhere. The first act boss is cool. The first hardboiled heavy, aka heavy gunner, tries to shoot you with missiles that you got to avoid, but only the red ones. Just jump into a blue one to knock them back at the other egg robots until all of them are gone and the heavy gunner is destroyed. All while you keep running because that's what Sonic does. Cool. The second act is pretty much the same. The only difference is Dr. Egmond on TV, disturbing, a lottery machine, and the second act boss. Eggman attacks you with different weather, and that's it. Now it's on to yes! Yes! Yeah! Flying Battery Zone! I love this stage in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and it's just as awesome, if not better, here. As usual, the first act is the same, but I don't care, it's still amazing. But the first act boss is called, and I'm not kidding, Big Squeeze. It fires its laser, but when it doesn't, just hit it. Did I mention it's called Big Squeeze? I can't get over that. In the second act, you go outside while it's raining with bottomless pits and another enemy from a different zone and game. The second act boss is a big spider. Instead of hitting it in general, you have to push it into the spikes, which is very interesting. Next we got another new zone, Press Garden Zone. We got boxes, bouncy conveyor belts, and machines that can crush you to your death. By the way, we're also in an old press making factory. Pretty cool. The first act boss tries to kill you with its saws, but all you have to do is keep leading it into the green and brown boxes. For some reason the snow boxes does nothing. The second act is kinda cool. Get it! Not much to say here. It's just snow, snow, snow everywhere you go. And we got more enemies from a different zone, and is this gonna keep happening? The second act boss is a heavy Shinobi ninja. You think you will be damaged when you get hit with a sword, but you just get frozen. Just hit him when he's in here. After the boss, you find out that Egmond has once again changed Little Planets, not to be confused with Little Big Planets. By the way, in case anyone will ask, my favorite Sonic game is either CD or Mania. I can't decide. I could imagine an epic fight between the games. I request fan art on my doorstep by Wednesday at 5. Anyway, next is yeah! Keep them coming! Stardust Speedway from Sonic CD. This time it's not as awesome as it was in Sonic CD. But who cares? Yeah! This time there's actually a new mechanic in the first act. The large capsules that usually end the act in Sonic CD is actually now just a way of getting through the act. And when the flowers has been released, it grows into a giant vine. The first act boss is pathetically easy. That's all I'm gonna say. The second act, wait, hold up. The second act is still Stardust Speedway. This time there's nothing new in the second act, but you get to fight Metal Sonic again. I love you, Metal! First, it's a classic race. Ah, nostalgic. But then you fight tiny silver Sonics from the 8-bit version of Sonic 2. I would say enemy from Zone and Game, but so darn cute! But sadly, you have to knock them into Metal Sonic. Then we get another race with a wall of spikes halfway through, You would think that you would just have to outrun the wall of spikes, but you just have to keep Hail Mel Sonic. Just make sure you don't run too slow. Hydro City Zone also returns from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The first act is more or less the same. The new tins here are chains to pull, ignore Tails here, and boats to ride on. I travel the 7 seas, each one containing an emerald of great power that I should have. The first act boss is first try not to get crashed. Then you go into Eggman's Eggmobile. Sonic has become Eggman. Eggman has become Sonic. The world is too different. The second act is just the same as the one in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, except for a few whirlpools. The second act boss is yet again interesting. You get propelled underwater and you have to avoid the spikes and hit these switches. And then you get this boss. And it's just as annoying as ever. Mirage Zone is another one of the new zones. Oh hi Knuckles! Bye Knuckles! Anyway, in the first act, you're riding on the wind of the tornado, just like Sky Chase Zone in Sonic 2. The enemies are kind of interesting. I swear I'm gonna scream soon. The first act boss is one giant caterpillar. Just head to head and nothing else. Knuckles, however, has an entirely new act. You get shot out of guns and go down barrels.
Do a barrel roll!
We also got... The boss of Knuckles' act is the same one, but it's on the ground. His patterns are predictable, so you should have no trouble with him. The second act is a bit like Knuckles' first act, but this time you can run in water. In the second act boss, you fight Fan the Sniper, Bean the Dynamite, and Bark the Polar Bear. 3 characters that I'm sure we all missed. The next stage is Oil Ocean Zone. Why this stage? It's not that bad. It's actually enjoyable. The one from Sonic 2 was completely annoying, but this one's alright. The only difference in this act is that you can set the oil on fire. First act boss is... well... how's he threatening again? Remember when I said that you could set the oil on fire? Well, once you defeat the boss, smoke covers the entire screen that can drain your ring counter, unless you pull the switches. Kinda like Sandopolis Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You also go in submarines. Cool. The second act boss is hard and annoying. I don't know how to do it. Just do it.
Just do it!
Next is Lava Reef Zone from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Nothing is different here except for... but I don't mind. Lava Reef Zone is still great. Especially the music. Now it's just mocking me. The first act boss attacks you by trying to drill you, but when it drills, it starts to lose its armor and... you know the drill. Oh, and watch out for fallen rocks! The second act is still the same as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The second act boss is a heavy rider riding on top of a motorbug. Radical! The last returning zone is Metallic Madness Zone from Sonic CD. Like Oil Ocean Zone, this zone used to be annoyingly hard, but now, it's actually fun. 2 of the enemies are doing different things now compared to Sonic CD. We can also switch between 2 different layers now. What is this, mutant muds? The first act boss is the final boss from the first Sonic game. I would say that's sad, but this boss was never hard to begin with. And besides, you got a second phase now. The second act is not much different between the first act in Mania and the second act in CD. But at least you can still be tiny. Aww, so cute. You can even fight the second act boss while small. You're just fighting a gumball machine that spits out 2 small Egmond bosses from previous games. And Amy Rose. Very deadly. The last new zone is Titanic Mirage Zone. It does alright for a final stage before the boss. We got plasma spears, bumpers, and rides with egg robos. The first act boss is the same as the boss from the Death Egg Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Only this time, in the second phase, you're in a moving elevator, so jumping can be different. The second act is more or less the same. The only difference is that we've got purple haze that teleports you to different locations. The final boss is Egmond, hooked up to his giant machine. He's got a shield around so you can't hit him, but when he attacks, his shield is gone, and that's when you hit him. You will also get grabbed with holographic hands that will teleport you to one of the hardboiled heavies, which has been transformed yet again by the Phantom Ruby. But all you have to do is survive long enough and you'll be transported back to Egmond. Once you have defeated him, Knuckles here will help you escape from this exploding place. A small cutscene happens, and that ends the game. Oh yeah, I forgot to get the Chaos Emerald. But before I do that, I should probably mention the bonus stages. These bonus stages are the same as the special stages from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Some are ripped from that game, and some are completely new ones, I think. The gameplay here is the same though, but what you get is different. If you collect all the blue spheres, you get a silver medallion. But if you collect all of the rings before getting all of the blue spheres, you get a gold medallion. But if you touch the red spheres,
you get nothing!
The special stages, however, are very new here. The graphics here remind me of the special stages from Sonic CD, and, well, any of the Sonic games on the Sega Saturn. In the special stages, you have to chase down a UFO, which has a Chaos Emerald. You have to collect blue spears here to speed up, and the rings to stay in the special stages. Don't touch the spikes though, avoid them at all costs, as touching them will make you lose your rings, and you could cause a chain reaction. You could lose your rings faster than you can say oops, and
you get nothing!
Well, except for my charm points. These are so damn good, but they are so damn hard. I like how Tails and Knuckles look though. Too bad they can't fly or glide here. It would have been a whole lot easier though. But once you get all of the Chaos Emeralds, you will be able to transform into Supersonic. Supersonic is just as cool as he was back then, but now better. Anyway, once you collected all of them, you'll be able to go to the true final boss. When you defeat Eggman again, him and Sonic will get transported to a place without space or time. See? The Heavy Kid, now called the Phantom Kid, has now betrayed Eggman and has taken the Phantom Ruby for itself. But since Sonic has the Chaos Emerald now, the final fight will begin. And, get ready for this, Supersonic can lose his rings! Well, as every game, he loses them all the time. But I mean, he loses even more rings when he gets hit with some of the boss's attacks. What a powerful Ruby this is. Also, Eggman tries to attack as well, but he's not much of a threat now. Not until forces. Anyway, once you defeated both of them, the Phantom Ruby reacts with the Chaos Emerald, and sends the Ruby and Sonic to another dimension. It doesn't show if or how he made it back, but as of this review, there are rumors of this leading up to Sonic Forces. Interesting. Now I wonder what happens when Tails and Knuckles get them all. Probably not. Yes! Yes! Super Sonic and Super Tails! Yes! It's not a golden shield! It's not a golden shield! Yeah! But wait! We're not done here yet! I got to tell you about other stuff, because you are the viewers, and you have the responsibility of handling everything I tell you. Like Sonic 2, there's a 2-player versus mode where you race against each other. There's also a time trial mode where you beat the stage as fast as possible. Here's one feature that most games don't have in time trial. A button that makes you reset the stage quickly. There are also unlockables. If you collect enough silver medallions, you get access to options like the Insta Shield from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and the Super Peel-Out from Sonic CD. And even Debug mode makes a return. Yes! Yes! I wonder what this is. Ooh. This is pretty cool. Not much glitches to find with this, but it's pretty cool. And then there's and Knuckles mode, where you play the game and your partner is Knuckles. And look, it's Knuckles, Knuckles, and Knuckles. What is this, 2017 or 2029? And that's everything. Thank you for sitting through this. This is Retrominimii, signing off. But first, a Knuckles counter. And Knuckles, 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 3 and Knuckles, and Knuckles, 3 and Knuckles, and Knuckles, and Knuckles, 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 and Knuckles, and Knuckles, and Knuckles, and Knuckles, Knuckles, and Knuckles, and Knuckles, and Knuckles, Knuckles, and Knuckles is Knuckles. It's Knuckles, Knuckles, and Knuckles. But first, a Knuckles counter.
Oh no.
Here I come, rougher than the rest of them, the best of them, tougher than leather. You can call me Knuckles, unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles, I'm hard as nails, it ain't hard to tell. I break them down whether they solid or frail. Unlike the rest, I'm independent since my first breath.